Good morning.
Good morning.
We have a couple of people, I think, walking in the door, so give us a couple of more minutes and we'll get started.
Okay, sounds good.
Is that our new map? Yes. Oh, awesome. Purdy. Welcome. Going wonderful. Oh, it's okay. It's okay. We keep a lot on hand here. So.
Can you do introductions?
Yes. Yes. That's right. Well, good morning, everyone. Thank you. This is our October meeting. We are a little slim this morning. I know that Jolene is out of the country and it doesn't look like Dick is on the call. Bridget, is Dick going to join us today?
I'm not sure. He just returned from vacation, so I'm guessing he's probably pretty tied up.
Okay. Sounds good. So I guess I am running the meeting today. Welcome. I just want to kind of go around the room. Can I actually call the meeting to order?
Yes.
Okay. I am supposed to call the meeting to order. And I believe we do not have a quorum today. So the good thing is we don't officially have anything to vote on. We have some things to discuss. So I just want to kind of go around the room today to kind of go through some introductions. We have some new people here from Invita, new staff members. So I'm going to have them introduce themselves. But I will start in the room and then go to my left and then back over to the Invita crew, and then we'll introduce those that are online. So, sorry, the mask is on today. We are seeing uptick in cases, so mask in the room. So you get to see my lovely Penrose nursing mask for my husband. So Laura Cruz, mobility coordinator, PPACG, been here a year and a half. I'm the facilitator, I guess, along with Melissa of the MCC. So happy to have you guys.
I'm Jacob Matson with Mountain Metro Transit.
Melissa?
So Melissa here, also with our military intern, Jenny Nihil.
And then our new staff, you'll press the button that looks like somebody's speaking.
I'm Chad Maxon, executive assistant at Invita. LJ Myers, our new transit manager.
Chad's been here, what, 3 months?
3 months.
With Invita, and I just got a week underneath my belt, so kind of wrapping my head around everything, and it's good to be here.
And she is the new Phil, for those of you who want to put that in perspective. So Kristen, we'll start with you.
Can you repeat the last Invita name? Was it Jasmine?
LJ,
Oh, sorry. I don't know why I heard that. Sorry.
technically
Completely
it's
different.
Leah, but I go by LJ, so we're good.
LJ. Okay, perfect. Thank you.
You're welcome.
Yeah, I'm Kristen Amundsen. I work for Goodwill, and I'm kind of a liaison. I have a very different day job. I do business development, but I have helped with grants over the years and kind of helping fill in. We do have a new transportation coordinator, Troy Pring, who I've kind of invited, and he's just kind of getting his feet wet. So yeah, and I'm also kind of a caveat to our fleet maintenance division if anyone has questions on what we do on that side of Goodwill. So thanks.
Okay, Bridget,
I'm Bridget Kirby. I'm the Executive Director for Community Intersections.
and we have Erica.
Hello, I'm Erica Carter. I'm the Director of Community-Based Services for Silver Key Senior Services.
Great. And then I think we have a guest on the call today, Marla. Did she hop off? Marla Lucky. Okay. There she is. She's trying to hop on. Marla, do you want to introduce yourself as a guest today? I will introduce, there she is. Marla, I think you're having some issues with your voice connection, but this is Marla, right? Marla Lucky from the health department, El Paso County Health Department. Did I get that right, Marla? I took my best shot. Okay. All right. So, not a lot on the agenda today. I do need an approval of the agenda. So those of you who are voting members, please approve the agenda.
Kristen Amundson, motion to approve the agenda.
Do I have a second?
Jacob Matheson, second.
All in favor?
Aye.
And approval of the minutes that were sent out from September.
Kristen Amundson, motion to approve.
Jacob Matheson, second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Ah, that was great. Okay. All right, we did not have any public comments. So unless we have any public comments from people in the room, we will move on. Membership appointments, just a reminder, last month we talked about starting the membership committee. And so I know that Jolene is going to help head that up. So we'll start meeting within those that have decided to kind of help us out with that. Soon, when Jolene gets back into the country, we'll kind of formalize when we'll start meeting. Just also some updates in terms of membership. Do you want to scroll down, Melissa, a little bit so I can see the rest of it? Okay, thanks. We do have upcoming elections per se for officers for this this group moving forward, and so we will need to appoint officers. We cannot do that this year, but I mean not this year. We cannot do that this time because we don't have a quorum. But those are some action items for the next MCC meeting, is for us to talk about our next membership committee appointments. Okay. No provider presentations today. The major thing that we want to talk about today is the driver recognition awards. This is something that we do every year. It's just a time for us to set aside to really recognize our drivers, and this is a very important year to do that because they have been through a lot with COVID, as well as just trying to implement new things on the fly. So we are kind of in a decision-making mode of how we want to do that this year. Last year we did it virtually. This year it's a question of whether we want to do that in person. And if so, we need to determine when we want to do driver recognition because of the holidays. Did I get that right, Melissa? Okay. So does anybody have any suggestions in terms of whether we should tackle this in November or whether we should tackle this in December? And if we should do it in person or try to do which if we do it in person, we can definitely do a hybrid. But do it in person or do it via Zoom. So any ideas, thoughts?
I think the hybrid approach is probably the best approach. So
Okay.
people are comfortable with, let them kind of decide for themselves.
Cool.
I think it worked well last year, just for my 2 cents, to do the over Zoom as well. So hybrid would be good.
Okay. So our meeting in November is set for very close to Thanksgiving. I think it's
So Laura, I looked at a couple of dates.
okay.
So the actual MCC meeting would be on November 23rd, which is, 2 days before Thanksgiving. If the group wanted to do the 30th, which is the Tuesday after Thanksgiving, or look at December 7th, which would be kind of, 2 weeks past. Any of those could work. And so again, it's just thinking, do people want to squeeze it in the week of Thanksgiving break, which typically has not been done. Typically, we usually do it afterwards. So then we would be looking at the 30th or December 7th.
Since we don't have a lot of people on the call today, do you guys think if I sent out a doodle poll this week to the group that we could land on a date and begin the planning process for that?
Sounds good.
Yeah, it sounds like a good plan.
Okay, we'll do that and get feedback from everybody. Also be thinking about, I wasn't here for the in-person type of driver recognition, but be thinking about the drivers and how you're going to communicate that to them. For those that may not be able to attend, how can we still recognize them? And I know that the board of directors is very interested as well, which are all elected officials, in being a part of that, because they recognize how much everybody has gone through this year, specifically those that have been on the front line, which are our drivers. So be thinking about some ideas of how we may conduct that after we settle on a date. And I'll probably be reaching out to you guys beyond this meeting to really get that planning going. So, all right. Melissa, is that what we needed?
Yeah, that sounds good.
Okay.
I will just add that we will send out a press release this year about the driver recognition and hope that, one of the news media outlets might be interested in, sharing the good news of this. The benefit of having everybody come here in person, which is really not, realistic at all, would be the media would come here and be able to video all the great drivers at one time. But maybe what we can do is just encourage the possibility of them. If anybody does come here in person, that would be great. And we would maybe encourage them to come here. So I'll be looking to try to coordinate all of that. But then if drivers like they did last year really were more comfortable and it worked out really well for time to just be on a Zoom call in the offices of the places where they work, then maybe we could send a crew to one of our partner agencies. So stay tuned for all that. Really hope that they would, want to share the story of these drivers and all they've done through all the COVID work and getting older adults and others to where they need to go. So stay tuned for that.
So those of you who have been on the CDOT transit monthly calls, y'all have seen the driver recognition that they have done. Also, if you have any pictures of your drivers and your vehicles that you want to share that we can put together, that would be great. So specifically, if we're going to have more people that will be doing virtual this year. All right, I just have, this is gonna be a short meeting today. I just have a few things that I wanna throw out there to everyone. There has been several FTA announcements of funding availability. I'm going to send those out to the group just because it's public information and I'm supposed to share it. So, I have kind of put together some comments that I've shared with the RCC on some of the grants that are available. A few of them are not available directly to nonprofits. They're supposed to go through the state or through a designated recipient. But there are a couple of grants out there for innovative mobility pilots that people want to do. And so I'll send out the information on those grants. The biggest thing that I suggest is if you are interested in applying for one of the FTA grants, that you really reach out to this group and start thinking about, is are other people interested in applying for that grant? And if so, how can you coordinate your applications together? The reason why is I have met with FTA on this. And they have said, basically, if there's more than one application coming out of a region, then it's more than likely only one is going to be supported. And it's also going to show that there's a lack of coordination. So it's important for you guys to be in communication with each other on coordinated efforts. They also suggested that it wouldn't be a terrible thing if there was a multifaceted application submitted. So just be in touch with each other about these things, as well as myself, just so I can help out with the process as much as possible. We do have the bat phone to FTA. So I've had some great conversations with them about some potential things that we may be able to do that some people have been suggesting. So be on the lookout for that today. I'll be sending out those NOFOs. The other thing that is coming up is the in the spring, the MMOF funding will be available again. MMOF is the Multimodal Options Fund. I think they've called it something different, but they're still using the same acronym. They are CDOT is finalizing the process of what the criteria and selection process will look like for each of the COGs in the TPR regions. So it's going to look different than last time. There's going to be a larger focus on the projects being towards low income areas of communities. So there's going to be a higher emphasis on that this year. They have been talking a lot about MMOF in the STAC meetings, which is, what does STAC stand for? State Committee, yeah, State Transportation Advisory Committee. Great, Melissa. That in the STAC meetings, I highly suggest just Googling Colorado STAC, and you can actually view those past meetings. They've been talking about this the past 2 months. The big difference in the MMOF money this next go around is that it's going to be a blended funding source for MMOF. So it'll be partially federal, partially state. So there's going to be different regulations around it. And those of you who have been managing FTA grants as subrecipients with us kind of understand some of those nuances that will be a part of that. So more on that. The NOFO for that will probably go out in the spring, early spring, maybe right after the first of the year, just whenever they can kind of get this set. So stay tuned. There's also later on next year, the Main Street grants are supposed to go out. The NOFO for the new Main Street grants are supposed to go out. And those grants are primarily for construction projects. However, there is an emphasis on multimodal. So say for instance, if there is a bus stop or, Invita does a fixed route, so does Teller Senior Coalition does a fixed route in an area. If you guys need covered bus stops or curb cuts, those types of things that you would want to apply for, a Main Street grant would be great for that. So once more information comes out about that, we'll discuss that with the full group. Lastly, Jenny, our military fellow, and I have been out to Fountain Valley Senior Center to present to seniors the mobility guide. Jenny's done a lot of work in calling the organizations on here, as well as those that don't attend this meeting, to really start putting together all that information for the mobility guide. I'm going to send out what she has already done today to you guys. So please look over that and see if any changes need to be made. The feedback that we got from the seniors was great. Just basic things about moving columns so that it's more understandable, different ways that things could be better presented. And then our goal is to take this information and be able to utilize it and work with someone who can make it a lot prettier than we can, so that we can start distributing this out to the public. It's also going to be information that's going to be on the age-friendly website. So we'll be updating the mobility information that's available on there because it's very limited. And it's also going to go onto PPACG's main website because it includes not just specialized transportation, but just also regional transportation. So be on the lookout for that. Give us some feedback. We're still in the process of refining that document, but I think it will be helpful just for us to see the roadmap of what everybody's doing. That is all I have. So any questions for me? All right. Anybody have any announcements to make?
Laura, this is Melissa.
Okay.
And I'm going to just mention one more thing regarding the appointment of next year's chair, vice chair. So the meeting before, we did identify people who wanted to be a part of that membership committee. And technically that membership committee can meet between now and the next meeting and kind of brainstorm who would be good for the chair and the vice chair. And that can be brought up at the next meeting. If you guys want to do that. And so heads up to folks that are on the call today. Ideally, hopefully there's some folks that would want to help be the chair or vice chair. I believe, I'm not positive. if this was Jolene's second year. I think it was her second year
was.
as chair. So we definitely want a new chair. And so please be thinking about that. Even new people who haven't been on for very long, you are welcome to consider it. And so just mentioning that if that membership committee, I forget who the people's names were on there, there were a handful of folks that volunteered and to maybe get together and brainstorm ideas, not only about the outreach for membership, but also chair and vice chair.
All right. Anybody have any announcements from their organizations? Jacob brought us a new map of their, is it your new routes?
That's the routes as of the fall this year.
All right. Well, I guess the meeting is adjourned at 9:59. Thanks, guys, for hopping on. I think we're gonna have some follow-up stuff because we didn't have a lot of participation.
Thank you, guys.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Bye.
Okay. The what? No, it was actually